Vice President Senator Kashim Shettima has reaffirmed the determination of the President, Bola Tinubu, to ensure that peace and tranquility is restored in Nuku and Woro villages in Kayama local government area of Kwara State in the aftermath of the attacks on the communities by terrorists. Senator Shettima gave the assurance on Saturday when he led a federal government delegation to commiserate with the people of Kayama local government and the governor of Kwara State, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak. He assured the people that while the president had ordered the deployment of battalion of the Nigerian army to Kayama, all hands were already on deck to rid the affected communities and the entire state of insecurity. The VP said that President Tinubu has instructed the National Emergency Management Agency to mobilize all resources in partnership with the Kwara State Emergency Management Agency to provide succor and support to the distressed communities.
Please accept our heartfelt condolences on behalf of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. A battalion of the Nigerian Army has been deployed to Kayama, and all hands are on deck to ensure that peace and tranquility is restored back to those communities. Security issues are sensitive issues. We do not have to divulge most of the actions that have been taken by our security establishment. But I am here fundamentally to commiserate with the government and people of Kwara and the people of Kayama in particular over the tragic loss of lives, and to reassure the good people of the state of harmony that our prayers are with you, our empathy is with you. And the DG of NEMA, the President had instructed her to mobilize all resources in partnership with the State Emergency Management Agency to provide succor and support to our distressed communities.
We do truly appreciate the response of the federal government. Representatives of NEMA have been on ground since the incident happened. Initially, they were not able to go to the epicenter, but with added security, we appreciate also the quick response of NEMA. All said, we continue to pray for better situation, better security in Nigeria. Those committing these acts, evil acts, to stop, basically.
On behalf of the governors of the northeastern state of Nigeria, I want to convey our deepest appreciation to His Excellency, the Governor of Kwara State, His Royal Highness, the Emir of Kayama, and indeed the entire Kayama community for what has happened a few days ago that has claimed the lives of several people. As Muslims, we believe in destiny, and it is our sincere hope that inshallah this act will not happen again.
We really appreciate His Excellency for giving us time for raising concern, and the President for taking action, especially for promising to serving a battalion there. Once again, we appreciate it again. We wish the Vice President journey masses, and we pray that this type of accident will not happen anywhere in Nigeria again.
Well, interesting. For more on Nigeria's troubling security challenges, let's have this conversation with the Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Intelligence, Satomi Ahmed. Satomi, glad to have you join us.
Thank you very much.
I was just listening to what they were saying there. Both the Borno State Governor and the chief there, they just said these incidences will not happen again. But not long after the visit of the VP, another case of abduction occurred. It's like this is what one could call an ending, and the nation is not getting a grip on this troubling situation.
Thank you very much. Actually, I feel very much thoughts and my condolences to what has happened, because I'm always almost down when I was watching this thing together with you. But as citizens, and security is everyone's business, government has given assurances, and Mr. President acted right away by deploying a whole battalion. But this time around, I have on my part also discussed some of the ways we need to tackle, because last I was here and I told you clearly, it's not time for lamentation or prayer. I believe that by now we need to see an action that will take the battle to them. And then, as I said it earlier last 2 weeks when I was here, that the intelligence are available. The Department of the State Services and other intelligence agencies have done their job. What we need to find out where we got it wrong is in the aspect of we should proactively act.
And that's exactly, I'm not cutting you off,
Yes.
you will continue your line of thought, but that's exactly where I was going to go to, the question of being proactive. Yes. I mean, it's good to hear that the president has sent battalion of army, the vice president has visited, but where is trying to prevent, I mean, in medicine, you say prevention is better than cure.
Yes.
Where do we situate trying to prevent these things before they occur?
I think that's the one thing I wanted to discuss when it cut me. The intelligence agencies, which I'm also part of it, I am very much aware that the intels are available from the technology, from the community, the traditional institution. But something is wrong somewhere in terms of, I said, proactively, let's take the battle to them. This thing started from the northeast, escalated to the northwest. Now it is north central, bordering some part of the southern state. So I think more than a decade, we need to change the pattern, the tactics, and call fake, call whatever we want to call it, because, sorry, I'm so emotional, because it's something that all year round we've been discussing the way, but it's high time for us to stop lamentation. All of us have to wear our thinking cap to find a solution to this madness, let me call it that way. Because if you see from the footage, these market people, some are just selling watermelon who doesn't have a capital more 20,000 naira, and you come and just kill them. What doesn't matter? They are just sending message to the government. So the president, I can say, has sent a battalion, and I want him and all who are in charge to give a marching order that we need to take the battle to them. If it takes what we can do, all 100 plus, it's not a small number that we can sit down and just relentlessly discuss here. So the bottom line of it is that I know preparations are going on. You heard it from the vice president that some of the security issues are not meant to be discussed. And I don't want to preempt him, but I'm sure with the level of preparation, with the level of intelligence, with some of the messages shared by the president to those in charge, definitely within the shortest possible period of time, we will see a result.
That's the hope, Satomi.
Yes.
What you're saying, we've had this thing so many times before now, and yet these things keep repeating. And just like you're feeling, I also felt too bad, particularly when I heard that people's hands were tied and short because they didn't want to buy into their particular religion, you know. I mean, I almost wept in my house. But let's go on to, so I mean, what you're saying makes sense, but then the thing is, are we taking the battle to them? What is holding us from taking the battle to them? Why are we not being proactive? Someone once asked the question, how come we hear continually and constantly, and we see the governors visit, you know, about those rescued, but not a word about their abductors or kidnappers? That sounds strange.
Actually, if you look at it, we celebrated when just 3 days ago regarding the, you know, let me say released or whatever name we are giving in Kaduna, and we saw today after the president visit, a Catholic, diocese have been abducted presently in
the Catholic
captivity.
priest. 10 others.
Priest, and 10 others. And we don't know the number of people still in captivity. This clearly shows that as once upon a time, the current DGSS has clearly said that we need to have all first line of defense. If the president can pronounce, to reiterate what the Director of State Services has once said, that the security will not be everywhere. We need to have a first line of defense, at least.
What does that mean?
What it does mean is that we need to have a form of a vigilante or whatever you want to food. And then if government can give support to the local people to even have pump action the way they can start defending themselves, it's high time to do that. If not, because if you said, look at the number of military we have. Today, Mr. President directed a battalion. Next, it will happen in another community. Is it a battalion will go, or is another tango set up? So therefore, and we all know that the military are overstretched. What I'm advocating here, and I want to give Nigerians assurances, is that as the budget comes, I know what has been earmarked to cover up a strategy through the Office of the National Security Advisor. The counterterrorism is preparing, and then I'm sure I know the level of preparedness to share such in such a forum, because this will give another way for them to, prepare or to preempt. But what has happened in the last 2 months in the Northeast, the military have taken over the entire Timbuktu Triangle, and if need be, we need to have a search in the entire axis of those terrorists where they are harboring these criminalities of their terrorism act. Is a guerrilla war, is not conventional.
Yeah.
And then, like, if you see your journalist, the way he's explaining, like somebody is watching them giving narratives of how their leader had come. So what's the intelligence that we have? If we have local intel like this, what makes us to go after them immediately when we had that kind of conversation?
Yeah,
and this will give me another thinking that the telecommunication company has a major role to play through the NCC by sharing intelligence. All these means of communication are owned by certain companies and individuals. So therefore, I think it's high time for us to prioritize. Thank God for the Minister of Defense. On his the day they were screening him by the Senate, he made mention that Nigeria needs to have its data. We must strengthen our data to know each and every individual in this country. By knowing the data, thumb printed or by the eye membrane, this will give us leeway that whoever doesn't have on such kind of scorecard, which means he should be enlisted as either part of the terrorist or so. This is one. Secondly, the strengthening of our borders. But these are all long-term solutions that need resources, time, etc. But what the immediate measures that we need to do is for us to take the battle
to the
them.
terrorists. Satomi, it's a pity I couldn't ask you the question on, with what's films we've seen, what happens in other climes when ransom is paid, this monies are marked and you can trace them. Even 20 years after you can get them, but it doesn't seem to be happening in Nigeria. I don't have the time now for that question.
But this is a very good question, if you will ask. That's why I emphasize on we must build the intelligence and utilize the intelligence available. The DSS are doing their part. The DMI are doing their part. But where are we getting it wrong?
Are we getting it wrong?
Yes.
That seems to be the question that needs to be answered. Yes. Chairman, House of Representatives Committee on Intelligence, Satomi Ahmed. Somebody said the moment you can know the problem, it's half solved. Thank you so much for being here.